Learn English.
From
Talk English.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk English. I'm so happy you're here with us today. You know, there's something really special about this community we're building together, and I love that you keep coming back. So thank you for being here. And of course, I'm here with Alex. Alex, tell me honestly, how are you feeling today? Are you in a good headspace?
You know what, Sophie? I'm actually feeling a bit nervous today, which is funny considering our topic. I was thinking about all those first encounters I've had over the years and how, even now, meeting new people can still make me feel a little uncertain, you know?
Oh, I love that you said that, because honestly, me too. I think that's why today's episode is so important. We're talking about how to meet someone for the first time in English, and it's one of those moments that can feel so intimidating, right? Like your heart's beating a little faster, you're worried about saying the right thing.
Exactly. And before we dive in, if you're new here or you've been watching for a while, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. We put so much heart into these conversations, and knowing you're part of our Talk English family really means everything to us.
Yes, and drop a comment too, because we actually read them. We love hearing about your experiences. Now, Alex, let's be real for a second. When you meet someone for the first time, what's actually happening in your mind? Like, what's the biggest challenge?
I think it's the pressure of making a good impression while simultaneously trying to be yourself. You're juggling so many things at once. Your words, your body language, reading the other person's energy. It's a lot.
It really is. And you know what I've noticed? A lot of learners think they need to have perfect English to make a good first impression, but that's just not true. What matters more is being present, being genuine. Would you agree?
Absolutely. In fact, I'd say that warmth and authenticity often matter more than grammatical perfection. Think about it. When someone smiles at you, maintains eye contact, and seems genuinely interested in talking to you, do you really care if they made a small grammar mistake?
Not at all. You just feel good around them. So let's start with the very beginning. You see someone, maybe at a conference, a party, a coffee shop, or even a work event. What's your opening move? How do you actually initiate that first contact?
Well, the simplest and most universal way is to make eye contact and smile. I know that sounds basic, but it's powerful. A smile is an invitation. It says, I'm approachable, I'm friendly. Then you can start with a simple greeting, something like, Hi, I'm Alex, nice to meet you.
See, that's so clean and simple, but I think some people freeze because they overthink it. They're like, should I say nice to meet you or pleased to meet you? What if I sound too formal? Alex, can you break that down?
Great question. So, nice to meet you is by far the most common and natural choice. It works in almost every situation, casual, professional, anywhere in between. Pleased to meet you is a bit more formal, maybe something you'd use in a very professional setting or with someone senior to you. But honestly, you can't go wrong with nice to meet you.
That's so helpful. And after that initial greeting, there's this moment, right? This little pause where you're both kind of figuring out what to say next. How do you fill that space without it feeling awkward?
You ask an opening question, and the key is to make it relevant to the context you're in. If you're at a conference, you might say, So, what brings you here today? Or, Are you enjoying the event so far? If you're at a friend's party, maybe, How do you know Sarah? That kind of thing.
I love that because it's contextual. You're not just throwing out random questions. You're actually connecting to the moment you're both in, and that feels natural, like you're genuinely curious.
Exactly. And here's something important. Your tone matters just as much as your words. If you ask, What brings you here, in a flat, disinterested way, it won't land well. But if you ask with genuine curiosity and warmth, suddenly you've created an opening for real conversation.
Yes, and I think this is where a lot of learners struggle. They focus so much on the words that they forget about the delivery. Alex, what about body language? Because that's huge in first meetings, isn't it?
It's absolutely huge. I'd say body language accounts for more than half of the impression you make. Face the person directly, keep an open posture, don't cross your arms, lean in slightly when they're speaking to show you're engaged, and maintain comfortable eye contact, not staring, but definitely present.
You know what's interesting? In some cultures, direct eye contact can actually feel intense or even disrespectful. But in English-speaking contexts, especially in places like the US, UK, or Australia, avoiding eye contact can make you seem disinterested or untrustworthy.
That's such an important point, Sophie. Cultural context matters. But generally speaking, in Western English-speaking environments, good eye contact shows confidence and respect. Now let's talk about something that trips people up, small talk.
Oh, small talk, the necessary evil, right? Some people love it, some people hate it. I personally find it exhausting sometimes, but I also know it serves a purpose. What's your take?
I think of small talk as a bridge. It's not meant to be deep or profound. It's meant to create comfort and establish common ground. You're essentially saying, hey, we're both human. We're both navigating this social situation. Let's ease into this together.
That's a really nice way to frame it. So, what are some safe small talk topics for a first meeting?
Weather is classic for a reason. It's universal and neutral. Beautiful day, isn't it? Or can you believe this rain? You can also comment on the venue or event. This place is really nice, or the presentation was interesting. Compliments work too, but keep them appropriate. I like your watch, or that's a great jacket.
Okay, but let's get real for a second. What about when small talk dies? Like, you've talked about the weather, you've commented on the venue, and then there's this silence. How do you recover from that?
First of all, don't panic. A brief silence isn't the end of the world. But to keep things flowing, you can ask about them. So what do is standard. Or what keeps you busy these days? If you already know their profession, you can ask, how did you get into that field? People generally enjoy talking about themselves.
They really do. And here's something I've learned. When someone shares something about themselves, actually listen. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Because if you listen well, their answer will give you your next question naturally.
That's brilliant advice. Active listening is a skill that transforms conversations. For example, if someone says, I'm a teacher, instead of just saying, oh, cool, and moving on, you could ask, what grade do you teach? Or what made you want to become a teacher? See how that opens things up?
And you're showing them that you actually care, which makes them feel valued. Alex, what about introducing yourself, like beyond just your name? How much should you share in that first meeting?
Good question. You want to give enough information to be interesting, but not so much that you overwhelm them. After your name, you might mention what you do or why you're there. I'm Alex, I work in marketing, or I'm Alex, I'm here visiting from Canada. Keep it concise. You're offering conversation starters, not your life story.
Right, because nobody wants a 15-minute monologue in the first 3 minutes. Now, I want to talk about something that I think is really important, but often overlooked: how to gracefully exit a first conversation.
This is so important. Sometimes you need to move on. Maybe you want to meet other people at an event, or you genuinely need to leave. The key is to be polite and clear. You can say something like, it was really great meeting you, but I should go say hello to a few other people. Or, I need to run, but this was lovely. Hope to see you again.
And you can ask for their contact information if you genuinely want to stay in touch. Hey, could I get your email? Or are you on LinkedIn? I'd love to connect. That shows the conversation had value to you.
Exactly. And here's a phrase that's useful. Let's keep in touch. It's warm, it's open, and it doesn't put pressure on either person to commit to specific plans right away.
I love that. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes, because I think this is where we can really help learners. What do people often get wrong in first meetings?
One big one is being too formal when the situation is casual. If you're at a relaxed gathering and you say, good evening, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, you're going to sound stiff and uncomfortable. Match the energy and formality level of the environment.
Yes, read the room. What else?
Talking too much about yourself without asking questions. Conversation's a two-way street. If you dominate with your stories and never show interest in the other person, they'll mentally check out. Also, looking at your phone constantly is a huge no-no. It screams disinterest.
Oh, that's so true. And here's one I see a lot. People apologizing for their English unnecessarily. Sorry, my English is not good, right at the start. Alex, what would you say about that?
I understand why people do it. They're nervous, they want to manage expectations, but starting with an apology can actually make you seem less confident than you are. Most of the time, your English is better than you think, and if you do make a mistake, the other person probably won't even notice or care.
Exactly. Just be yourself. Your accent, your unique way of expressing things, that's part of who you are. It's not something to apologize for. Now, let's imagine some specific scenarios. What if you're at a professional networking event? How does that change things?
In a professional context, you want to be friendly, but also purposeful. After the initial greeting and small talk, it's appropriate to mention what you do and maybe why you're there. I'm in software development, and I'm here to learn more about emerging technologies. That gives the other person a hook to engage with.
And it's okay to ask professional questions, right? Like, what's your role at your company? Or what projects are you working on?
Absolutely. Those questions show professional interest and can lead to meaningful exchanges. Just balance it. Don't turn it into an interrogation or a sales pitch in the first 5 minutes.
Small pause. What about more casual settings, like you're at a party or a social gathering? The vibe is different there, isn't it?
Completely different. At a social event, you can be more relaxed and playful. You might compliment something fun, like, I love your shoes, or make a light observation about the party. The music's great, right? Humor works well too, as long as it's appropriate and not forced.
And I think at social events, it's okay to be a bit more vulnerable or personal, not in a heavy way, but just more human. Like, I'm so glad I came tonight. I almost stayed home. Little things like that create instant connection.
Definitely. And here's something that can really help. Find common ground quickly. If you both know the host, talk about that. If you're both trying the same food, comment on it. Shared experiences, even tiny ones, create bonds.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered a lot: greetings, body language, small talk, asking questions, reading the room. But Alex, what's the one thing you'd want listeners to remember above everything else?
I'd say this: be genuinely curious about the other person. If you approach every first meeting with authentic interest in learning something about who they are, the conversation will flow naturally. You won't have to memorize scripts or worry so much about perfect phrases.
That's beautiful, because at the end of the day, people remember how you made them feel more than the exact words you used. If you made them feel heard, valued, and comfortable, that first meeting was a success.
Exactly. And for our learners, remember, every native speaker was also nervous meeting new people at some point. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being present and kind.
Yes, and honestly, the more you practice, the easier it gets. Every first meeting is a chance to improve. So get out there, start conversations, make mistakes, learn from them. You've got this.
And if you found this conversation helpful, do us a favor. Leave a comment and tell us about a memorable first meeting you've had in English. What went well? What was challenging? We'd love to hear your stories.
And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Talk English if you haven't already. We're here every week with conversations like this to help you feel more confident and natural in English.
Thanks so much for spending this time with us today. Until next time, keep practicing, keep connecting, and remember, you're doing better than you think.
See you in the next episode, everyone. Take care.